Greetings and welcome to your daily walk with Scripture for January the 29th, aka my wife's birthday. Yeah, that's right. Shameless plug. Make sure and tell her happy birthday if you happen to see her. Today's reading was in Exodus chapter 8, Exodus chapter 9, Matthew chapter 19, verses 13 through 30, Psalm 24, 1 through 10, and Proverbs 6, 1 through 5. We're going to camp on Exodus a little bit more today before we go look at some of the other scriptures in the coming devotionals. And that's because the plagues of Egypt are something that are really a pretty powerful testament. And here's what I mean by that. Have you ever seen one of those bumper stickers that says, "My dad can kick your dad's butt"? I've seen them before. Now, I get a little humor out of it because, honestly, I'm not really a big guy. I mean, I might be 6 foot with the hair, but generally as a rule, I'm around 5'9", and I don't know that I've ever been known to intimidate anybody over the height of 4 feet. But what we have here in Exodus with the plagues is actually a really important aspect of God demonstrating to the world who He really is. We've talked about this before, that gods back then, and you can see it all throughout history, whether it be Greek history or Egyptian history, even Roman history, all those different histories that believed in multiple gods, even all the way back to the Gilgamesh chronicles. All of those different people believed in multiple gods, and each one had different sets of responsibilities. There was no big god, there were just a bunch of miniature gods. So the 10 plagues of Egypt are a demonstration to the Egyptians and the rest of the world that Yahweh, I am, is bigger than all these made-up gods. And here's what I mean by that. Each one of the plagues, you can have a direct tie to one of the many Egyptian gods and goddesses that are out there. For example, Exodus chapter 7 that we read yesterday, the blood in the Nile, the river turning into blood, that was a direct shot at Happy, also known as Apis. Today's readings, we have the frogs, and that is Heket, the goddess of birth, the plague of frogs. But here's the thing about it, and this is why, you go, "Oh, come on, Jeremy, you might be reaching a little bit far. This is not a parallel." Okay, do you know what Heket looks like? She has the head of a frog. If that's not a direct shot at the Egyptian fake gods and goddesses by Yahweh, I don't know what else is. So the plague of frogs comes, then the plague of gnats, and then the plague of flies, and that's what we see here. But each one of these has a direct correlation to it. Well, you flash forward into Matthew chapter 19 today, and you see someone else who has made another kind of god, and that would be the god of money. When the rich young man comes up and he says, "What do I have to do to get the kingdom of into the kingdom of heaven?" And Jesus said, "If you want to enter life, keep all the commandments." And the young man says, "Well, I've kept them all. What do I still lack?" And Jesus said, "Well, if you want to be perfect, go and sell what you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come follow me." Now, people look at this and go, "Oh, well, he's stuck in money." And that is true, but there's also an element of pride that comes into it, and that's what Jesus is talking about here. And it says, "Only with difficulty will a rich person enter the kingdom of heaven." That's because a rich person needs humility. The same thing that the Pharaoh of Egypt needed. He needed humility to recognize who God is. See, again, we've got this rich young man who says, "Oh, I've followed all these rules." He's done an external thing. And Jesus says, "No. You got to go sell all that stuff." You see, if you're willing to sell that stuff, you're willing to show me that your heart is where it needs to be. And the disciples heard this and they're like, "Hold on, time out. How is this even possible to happen? This is impossible." And Jesus says, "You're right. It is. Truth is, only God can save." Now, the disciples didn't understand this fully, but they will soon enough. When Jesus says, "Tetastale," it is finished, they will understand exactly what it means when he says that with God, all things are possible. All right, there's your daily devotional for today. Have a blessed one and continue to stick with it. Don't give up. Remember, if you fall off the horse, get back on it. Just join us back up. Don't try to play catch up. Just catch up with where we are. Have a blessed one. We'll talk next time.